So I thought I would document a project I'm working on. I bought this Browning Auto 5, probably 4 or 5 years ago now. A friend of mine needing some money. I got it for a pretty good price. But I really haven't done anything with it. It's a Light 12 made in Japan. It was made in the 70s. Probably one of the first ones made in Japan after they moved production from Belgium. But it's an 8-pound 12 gauge, limited to 2 3/4 inch shells. I really don't have much use for it. It wouldn't be my choice for waterfowl. It's a little heavy for my preference for an upland gun. So it's just kind of been sitting around. And I decided to make a combat type shotgun out of it, home defense combat style shotgun. So a couple things. I just figured I'd maybe make a series of videos documenting the changes, what I'm going to be doing to this shotgun. It does have some pretty extensive bluing wear. Previous owner is actually the guy I bought it off of. I think it was his dad. Etched his name and phone number into the receiver. So, being it's a Japanese gun and the condition it is, it's not, the stock was cut for a recoil pad. It doesn't really have a whole lot of collector value. I always hesitate to modify some of these guns. That being said, even though it's not really that collectible of an Auto 5, I still hate to really modify them permanently. So my intention is, I'm going to try to do everything I can to leave the parts stock so I can return them to this configuration. So I picked up a barrel on eBay that has already been chopped. That way I don't have to cut this barrel. The barrel I picked up on eBay, I think, was cut to 19 or 20 inches. Once I get it, I should have it by now, but I don't have that barrel. It's hung up. It's hung up in shipping. Maybe by the time you see this video, I'll have that barrel. But my intention is not to cut this barrel down. I'm gonna keep this barrel original 28-inch length. It'll just be a spare barrel. My intention is to hopefully this barrel arrives that I actually purchased on eBay. But my intention is to use a barrel that's already cut. That way I'm not chopping any barrels. I was never really a fan. I really love the history of the Browning Auto 5. I was never really a fan of their stock proportions. For whatever reason, Browning chose to have just this really long grip area. It kind of has cartoonish proportions. I have large hands. I wear extra large gloves, but even that, you can see it's just an enormously long grip area. I'm not sure why Browning did that. Remington, on their version, Remington 11s, they had a grip that was much more normal sized, I guess, for lack of a better term. This stock is actually patterned more on the Remington 11, where the grip area of the stock is more fitting for normal human-sized hands. I bought this off of eBay. This is an old Bishop stock. It was sold as a Auto 5 stock. I really believe that it was a Remington 11 stock for the reasons I outlined. The grip proportions look a lot more Remington 11-ish than Browning Auto 5. Another thing I never really cared for on Browning Auto 5 was the placement of this groove. To actually use that groove, you don't have a whole lot of hand on the forearm. I end up grabbing them like this, and that groove is actually more of a detriment than anything to a proper grip, in my opinion, at least for my hand. So I bought this forearm off of Gun Parts Incorporated, the old Numrich Gun Parts Incorporated. It has no finger grooves. and it's just a little bigger proportion. It just fits my hand a lot better. The caveat to this forearm is it's shorter. Gun Parts Incorporated market this as a shock-resistant forearm, and it's designed to be used in conjunction with this piece of plastic that they ship with the forearm. I don't know where they source this. It has a knurled finish. It looks like it was cut off by an angry beaver. It's not square at all. But this shock-resistant forearm is designed to be used in conjunction with this plastic spacer to get the correct length. I'm not going to use this. So my plan for this shotgun is I'm going to have an 18-inch barrel, 18.5-inch barrel. I'm going to put this stock on it with proportions that I find better for my hands. And I've already done some of this work. I already started some of this work off camera. But I have this stock fitted and glass bedded to the receiver. However, I do not have the hole drilled for the stock bolt. You can see I don't have the screw in right now. I've been sliding these stocks on and off. But I need to drill this stock for the stock bolt, which is kind of a tricky operation. So I think I'll try to do that on camera. And for better or worse, we'll see how that turns out. The forearm, I also already have it fit to the receiver. It didn't take a whole lot of fitting, but I'll show in a minute what I did do to that. So my intention is, I'm not a big fan of magazine extensions, especially in a recoil operated shotgun such as the Browning Auto 5, because you can't have a magazine clamp from the magazine tube to the barrel due to the reciprocating barrel. Of course, the threaded on portion is a weak point, especially when you have magazine tube hanging out there. So my intention is, I bought a new old stock magazine tube. So this is the same magazine tube that's in the shotgun. My intention is to actually cut a section of probably cut the magazine tube behind the threads, cut a corresponding section of this, so it's roughly flush with an 18-inch barrel, and weld the two magazine tubes together, essentially creating a one-piece extended magazine tube. So it should have a 6+1 capacity, if I figure correctly. So instead of a Browning Auto 5, I should have an Auto 7 till I'm done. So I'll essentially have the magazine tube sticking out roughly where 18-inch barrel would be. It should be right about here. Then, instead of using this that Gun Parts Incorporated sent along, I'm going to use 1-inch PVC pipe. This is 1-inch PVC, and the diameter is just about perfect to fit over the magazine tube. So my magazine tube is going to stick out. I'm going to cut this to the proper length. It's actually going to be over the magazine tube, and then my magazine cap is going to be out here on the end where it normally would be at the end of the magazine. This PVC, I'll paint it black, matte black, to match the shotgun. But this is going to take the place of this. I've seen on forums where these don't last very long. These just kind of swell up. That's kind of it's not a very good system in practice. But with this PVC pipe, it'll protect the magazine tube from dents and dings. It should add some shock resistance, keep the forearm from splitting, and it'll allow me to put the magazine cap out on the end of the tube. So real quick, I'll show something else I did do to this shotgun already. If you look here, I have aluminum pins in the forearm. These aluminum pins, they actually correspond with holes that I drilled in the front of the receiver. Now with the forearm iron, the holes are not visible. But I'll show you real quick. Alright, if you look here, you see a hole there and a hole there. And I actually drilled those into the receiver. And these pins that I have in the forearm, they made into those holes to keep the forearm from rotating. And that's one thing on these Brownings. There's really nothing to keep the forearm from rotating other than the barrel. It can only rotate so far it'll hit the barrel. That's why you see the bluing streaks in a lot of these barrels, because the barrel is actually rubbing on the forearm. I didn't like that. I put those pins in there to keep that forearm in a centered position, because I also intend to, after I extend the tube, I intend to put this sling attachment point. I'm going to attach that to the front of the forearm. It'll look something like that. And I don't want the sling to be able to twist this forearm sideways into the barrel. So, like I said, I don't have the stock screw in there. These pins are cut off roofing nails. They're aluminum roofing nails. They're the proper size to fit in that hole. And then I put some glass bedding epoxy in the forearm. And I also glass bedded around here to have a nice solid fit. But really happy how that turned out. And that keeps that forearm perfectly solid. So I think that's all for now. I'll do a couple of videos going through different processes here. But, and then hopefully have a video of the completed project. But that's all for now.